So, how many of you have heard of IQ? All of you have IQ, right? So, SQ? So, people know EQ. Do you all know what EQ stands for? Emotional quotient? Daniel Goleman? Yes? No? Okay. So, SQ, do you all understand what SQ is? Social quotient? Yeah. So, and IQ, obviously, all of you are smart people. So, I'm talking about PQ. Any idea what PQ could stand for? I don't know, I'm just containing the word actually as we go. So it stands for what I call as personality quotient, right? So, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So when you're going and pitching to people, right? So you always have to be on a pitch mode, so as to speak. And what I've seen is, so we do some investments and things like that. So what I've seen is people will come up to you in, let's say, in a social gathering, maybe even here, right? And either share too little information or share too much irrelevant information on what you're trying to do, right? So the idea here is, again, it's a 5-minute talk controlled by Nanju, who will kick me off the stage if I say 5 minutes. So I'm restricting this to that, and I'm just going to give you a few important tips on what kind of questions to ask. So many people have talked about listening, right? They've said you have to really, really listen to people. And what I'm saying is, yes, listening is important, but I think asking the right kind of questions is also very, very important. So I'm just going to cover that. So PQ would also stand for what I call as power questions, right? Power questions. So, yeah, so the art of questions, right? So if you're able to ask the right kind of questions, I think, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? You can clarify things, you can unearth core issues, build relationships, influence others. And for startups, I think I was looking more at this and this, right? So how do you influence? So for example, let's say Nanju is an angel investor and I'm meeting him outside now. So how do I quickly get to Nanju that I'm really smart and I've got something really cool that he would love to talk to me later on, right? So how do I get that? Because his mind share is going to be occupied by another 40 people around, right? So everybody will come and say hello or whatever. So how does he remember me alone, right? So this is a busy bee, right? So typically busy bees, when I talk about, are mostly in any kind of social forum. If you're an angel investor, or if people know that you're a limited partner in a fund, then everybody crowds to you, right? So that's what I call as a busy bee. So how do you influence them? So, and this is where I've said, there are people who come in and who've spoken very little, as in, I run a SaaS startup doing, I don't know, connecting people who want to rent houses. Okay, sounds good, right? But I also know that there are many, many people who are doing that, right? Or somebody will come to me and just start talking about, we're trying to solve the problem of housing, which is also good, but not specific enough. Right? So how do you start doing that? Is first things first, you introduce yourself, and then you say, if the person shows interest, then you say, what would you like to know quickly about, I know I have 2 minutes of your time, what would you like to know about what I'm doing, right? So you do your introductory line, as in, I'm in the housing space, I'm doing a startup in housing, or I run an SME in housing. So is there anything specific you'd like me to address, right? So you get to the meat of the matter, if you want to call it that. Again, what is the most important thing we should be discussing? This is something I've never ever heard people talk about before. Oh, okay. Then, once you go through that conversation, you say, can I send you more information, right? This aspect, I think is very key for busy people. Now, if you're, let's say, looking at building relationships, you need to be able to build a bond with whoever you're talking to, right? This is a classic way to actually look at co-founders, things like that. If you're matching at the same wavelength. So things would be, why do you do what you want to do? What in your life is giving you the greatest fulfillment? How did you get started with this idea? What are your dreams? Is there something else you'd like to accomplish? Things which go under the how are you, I'm fine kind of model, right? So some of these questions are actually power questions, and I'm not just sharing these. I mean, these have been validated significantly. Many papers around this, many research articles as well around this. So this is what I would do, right? So if I want to build relationships, I'd probably get into more depth.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. So if I'm looking for results, right? And this is conversations where, let's say you're in a negotiation, let's say with somebody, then some of the questions you would be looking at asking is this the best you can do? Or if you want something more, from somebody who's working along with you, then you would say, what is the thing you've learned from all of this, right? Especially if things are not going great, then the question to ask would be, what am I learning from this, or what did you learn from this? So some of the questions which I found many people ask me, which just gets me really irritated, is they come in and sit, and obviously it's a good perspective, right? But they come in and say, so what keeps you up at night? Nobody keeps me up at night. I sleep well, right? So that's a very not a good question to ask. If you're actually going and trying to help somebody solve problems, that's not a good question to ask. What has surprised you is not a good question to ask. What question haven't I asked is not a good question to ask. Can I ask you a question is also not a good question to ask. Why I say that is, all these questions show me that you haven't prepared about me, right? So he was mentioning about that as well as Akash, I think, when he said, please do research on your investors, right? Please do research on your angels, or please do research on whoever you're going to speak with, right? Some of the questions you have to ask should show that you're knowledgeable about the problem. For example, today water scarcity, well, cash flow works, no, that's too controversial. We'll talk about water scarcity, right? So let's say you're proposing a water management solution, right? So you would come to me, and let's say I'm in the same space. You will ask me, the Bangalore in another 5 years, they're saying it's going to go dry. So I'm sure you're working on some solutions. What are those kinds of solutions, right? So what you're saying in that to me is that, okay, you know that there is a water scarcity in Bangalore. You have some idea of the subject, and you're going to have a conversation with me, right? So it's, I think, very important to have that kind of flavor in terms of the conversations you have. So, Peter Drucker, any of you know him? Okay, some of you know him. Okay, so he's supposed to be one of the big management gurus, right? So he has just given 5 areas to ask questions on, and he says, if you get these 5 right, I think you're doing something very well, right? First is regarding personal mission, which means, who am I, what am I doing, what is my purpose in life, what is your purpose in life, what are you doing in life, right? Or why are you doing what you're doing, right? In our relationships, again, so I love being friendly, I love being open, what do you love doing, what gets you turned on, right? Things like that. On a personal level, again, this goes into relationships, but yeah, so this gets into things like, okay, so I love being spiritual, I like being religious, I like being an atheist, whatever, right? So how does that coordinate or link up with you? In terms of expectation, so my expectation is, so if I run a successful business, my expectation of success is 50 crores, right? As maybe an exit strategy. What is your expectation, right? So things like that. Then again, what are short-term, medium, long-term action plans? These are my short-term, medium, long-term action plans. What are yours? If you're able to cover these 5, I think you've got a game on, typically, right? And this is not me, Dr. Singh, right? So I'm sure part of it must at least be true, right? So with this, yeah. So good questions always trump easy answers, and Trump is not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. So please, any questions? I talked about questions. So
any questions can be taken up
later. Yeah, Manju has come.
So thank you so much. Yeah. So questions you can take it up later.
Yeah, there are some good books also on this, so you can check that out.
So maybe you can take one question by the time Saket comes in.
So any questions? There is no question. Good. So no questions about questions. Not bad. Not at all. Good.